Alright everybody, this is the second live for the day. This is going to be the third pre-season episode start. So this is like the third video on the podcast. I did this yesterday and I'm doing it again for the first time. Dr. William and his family are getting ready to call me back here in just a couple minutes, so I'm going to try to do this quick, give another breakdown, and explain what I'm putting in my body right now every day. And this is a documentation of my journey towards juicing cannabis raw every day as a dietary essential and essential for life. So right now, one of the things that I've got some almond milk inside the cup. Put a little bit more in there, missing some. I'm going to drop in some vitamin C, drop in some powdered vitamin C. About a half tablespoon powdered vitamin C. Lion's mane. You can look this up. There's lots of people who are selling it online. Mental clarity and focus. Mushroom mycelium powder. This is from Host Defense Mushrooms. Paul Stamets. If you've never heard of Paul, he's a mycologist. Check that out. You'll like what he has to say. About a half a scoop there. Got the Stamets 7. Another half a scoop of that. This is mushroom mycelium powder. And these are non-psychoactive, or, they don't have the psilocybin. They're not the magic mushrooms. These are just regular old mushrooms. Not regular old mushrooms, but Paul Stamets grows these, and he sells these products. So what I do is, I've got about a week now that I've been eating mushroom mycelium powder, and I have almost a full year now with hemp oil, and which is high in CBD. It's probably 18% CBD, or 18 to 1, I'm sorry, 18 to 1 on CBD to THC, and it's hemp oil. So, and then I got my vitamins that I take every day. So, the vitamins, I just started my vitamins again for the first time in a long time, and I feel as though sorry, I'm a bit rushed because they're getting ready to call back, and I have to get back into the other room and get the phone, because they're going to call on this and I'm going to answer on this live. So how am I going to do that? I did the live on this. Maybe I can continue with this live. Yes. And then answer the messenger on the other. So vitamins, I just take a whole bunch of them. I got a wide variety here. And one of them that I do take out every day is this little one here. And I eat this one at night. That is a melatonin. But I try to give my body everything that I know that it needs, that I've studied about. And I try to be health conscious. I've been health conscious for the better part of 20 years. Alright. Oh, the next one. Hemp oil. I'll go with 3 of these. Now this has never been heated. This is just the raw form. And so there's no psychoactive effect either. There is no detectable THC in the flower that was used to create this tincture oil. And Golly Green Farms is a farm in the United States that can sell you its product anywhere in the, I'm pretty sure anywhere in the United States, anywhere in the 50 states. And he sold me the first bottle, and he gifted me some flour. And my first bottle ran out, and I made another bottle with some of the flour that he sent, and so that's what I've got in there. So Paul Stamets, you are Mr. Paul Stamets, and anybody else watching, you are beautiful. I love this product, I'm telling you. That sticker came with this product right here, and I love this other product here too. They're both very amazing, absolutely wonderful additions to my supplements. I started selling, and I started taking vitamins about the age of 18. I started selling vitamins for a vitamin company, so I really got into nutrition at that point. But at the time, the science did not talk about as much on hemp, and I didn't ever hear anything about mushrooms at the time. I learned about selling vitamins through one of the churches that I went to during my younger years, and so I started selling a product called USANA, which is a company, vitamin company out of Salt Lake City, Utah. They've got it's multi-level marketing as far as their distribution and whatnot. So I got into a multi-level marketing business with USANA vitamins. But like I said, nobody ever talked about mushrooms, and nobody ever talked about hemp and or cannabis. But our subject of discussion with Dr. William Courtney, his specialty is cannabis as a dietary essential to be drinking and eaten raw, fresh, every day for the best, absolute best, 100% health. Dietary essential, the most important thing that you can put in your body after water. Those are his words. And that's why I'm on this journey of doing what I'm doing, that Facebook page that I created and the stuff I've been telling people since 2014, that cannabis is more than just a flower you smoke to get high. There's a whole nother aspect that we are discovering, I discovered, humanity's discovering. And so we're talking about that on this show. You are in my home. Welcome to my home. And now you are mobile with me. You're coming with me to the other room. Let's see, I'm going to have something else for my stomach. One second. Go. Got some graham crackers, got a mandarin orange, a couple bananas. Headed into the other room, about to receive a phone call on Messenger. Got my vitamins down the pipe, and I am back here, getting set up again. One second. And the last video had cut off abruptly because the battery on this phone had died. Sorry about it. Looks like a mess, but I was using those papers to prop up the phone to get the right footage to come in good. But now I've solved that problem. I have both of my chargers hooked up to both phones at the same time. So I'm going to take in a phone call from Dr. William a video call on Messenger with his family. They are on their computer in Dominica. And fortunately for me, when the phone died, fortunately for us, for you, for all of you watching, I know that bed just looks a little... Anyway, it's already on the first video. So, this is my home. What you see on the back wall, those are butterflies. And I got the love thing up here, air conditioner. Some of the this is normal life, everybody. And if you could see through which you will see through now on this video, more of what you saw on the second video, this is the third, you'll be able to see inside the world of Dr. William Courtney. On the first video, you got to see my good friend John. Thank you so much, John, for responding to that. It was a half hour I was on Facebook Live. Hey, everybody, who wants to come and join me and talk about whatever? Okay, so they called, and I got to get this phone turned on. I should have turned that on. I was all chatty. Okay, so I asked him to call me back in 3 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and fix that blanket. We kind of got up to a late start this morning. Typically the beds are made before we roll out in the morning, and then when I got back from dropping the wife and kids off, I immediately started going live, immediately went live, and here, somewhat better of a presentation room here, and he is about to call. Now this phone is turned on, so the messenger is going to give me option to answer either on this phone or on that phone, and I'm just going to go ahead and call him. Video. And we're going to show more on his side. Video effects. We could try video effects just for fun. Let's do it. I told him 3 minutes, and now I'm calling him back in 1. So he's not expecting the call. I'm gonna let him call me back. Oh, my recorder. This recording started about 40 minutes ago while we were in the middle of the last call, and that's just for extra backup or whatnot. William Courtney in 2016 and his wife Kristen I came across, and I had no idea what was going on in the world since the last information that I could find of them on video. And so yesterday was the first time that I spoke with Dr. William, and today is the first time we're on video together, and we are learning about each other. And okay, now we're here.
It's Nani.
Hi. How do you spell your name?
Nani is a short-term for it, but the full name's Unani. U-N-A-N-I. Unani.
Wow, that's a unique name. Does that have any special meaning?
Medicine.
There are 30 medical schools in India, and I believe Unani is the name of them. We found that out secondarily.
It's the first medicine in the the first use of cannabis on record?
Supposedly,
3,000 years ago when they used raw.
yeah, supposedly the Greeks using raw cannabis, that was a term they came up with.
Really? So the term for raw cannabis, the Greeks came up with, and you guys figured that out afterward, after you named her?
I believe that's how it. Oh no, Kristen says before.
Okay, so Kristen specifically chose that name partly because of the history behind it.
That's also that was my nickname in high school.
That was your nickname in high school too?
Yeah, not easy if you're 11.
Nice. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna show on this video more of us with your end of the video spectrum, so people can have a chance to see you. And like I said, as far as online, when I did all the reading I could find on you, and yesterday I was even watching one of your videos that was from quite some time ago, I think, not for sure when, but maybe at least 7 years. So people are able to now watch and get a glimpse of your guys' life where you are in a way for the first time that in a long time that people have been able to see you. So I'm going to screen around here, so be conscious now that there's the world where you guys are, so people are able to see that. We're eventually going to figure out how to do this split screen thing where we're automatically going to be on there, and but for now this is kind of where we are. And we can go like this. I'm thinking that just for a better quality video, we're gonna kind of go with the same format we did on this last video, and I'm gonna keep you over here abouts and keep the live over here. That'll give you guys because it's kind of strange me holding the phone up to the other camera line, and it seems more, I like this a little bit better for our, yeah, I like this a little bit better until we figure out the split screen thing. Let's go with this, and we might try on our next call after this one. I'll probably play around with some Zoom, and we might do that. But I like this live aspect because it allows me to interact with other people at the same time that already know of me. Plus, it works towards establishing our connection together, and the videos, like I mentioned to you before, they can be shared with the people who you have circles of contact with your Facebook. So, which Facebook is pretty popular. It's one of the more popular, and but we'll branch out with this podcast, Solomon's Treasure. We're going to have our videos available on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and YouTube. Maybe not Snapchat, but Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and
TikTok.
I would love TikTok, and well, I have a hesitation with TikTok now because I didn't get experience with TikTok before it was abolished from the United States, and like, okay, I wanted to get in with TikTok before, but I didn't have the opportunity to, and so now let's just focus on what we've got available where I'm at in Massachusetts. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube as a primary source where people are going to be able to watch these videos. So that's part of my job, is I'm going to be uploading them, and we're going to be sharing and helping people see what is and why. They're going to be able to see. It's going to give more authenticity to the story behind cannabis being a dietary essential and the discovery of it. So it's gonna be on a level that no one has done before. So we're discovering this area together, and yeah, I'm kind of speaking so that people who are watching and they can get a glimpse of me and where I'm at, and you can also get a glimpse of me and where I'm at, and we can synchronize our efforts, plus make it something somewhat entertaining for people. But before we start diving too much, I think, into the science of why, it's my heart is to talk more on this third, I guess, preseason game video before we get to split screen. I want to talk more about your story, you and your wife, as far as, how you came to know each other, how you came to discover cannabis, and how you are able. When was the time when you were able to say definitively that cannabis should be considered a dietary essential and the most important vegetable? Because if people search long enough, or enough online, such as me, you come across those words that you say to people. And for somebody who's hearing that for the first time, like you mentioned before too, that might sound as though some type of snake oil, because that's the closest thing that you could compare something to. But you've dedicated your time in your life to not only be truthful in how you help people as a doctor, but you've also grown a family at the same time, which gives such authenticity to the story. And so let's dive into the family aspect and how that. I'm going to be eating a banana at the same time. How you came to be who you are, doctor, and how Kristen came to be who she is, and your journey. Like, tell me, can we dive a little bit into your background and your medical, without going too far into key terms that are challenging for people who don't know much about medical? So, like, imagine we're wanting to talk just for 10 minutes of how you became a doctor, why you became a doctor, what led you to cannabis, and then what led you to Kristen. And before we get into the stories afterwards, can we do that? Can you give us about a 10 to 15 minute backdrop on who you are as a doctor, how you became a doctor, and how you knew about cannabis?
Yeah, so it was about 2004 or 5. Cannabis was quite popular in Northern California, and at that point you needed a medical approval. So if you want to go back to medicine, as a child, I was very interested in microbiology. I spent hundreds of hours behind a microscope at the age of 7.
The age of 7, hundreds of hours behind a microscope. And how old are you now?
67.
67. So 60 years ago, you were playing with a microscope, studying microbiology.
Yeah, and I just was fascinated by the single-cell organisms and that whole life that you can find in a drop of pond water. And I do those flip drawings where you'd make 100 drawings that show the rotifers kind of coiling and uncoiling. And I got into that. And then I also had quite a love of chemistry. An uncle who got me involved in chemistry at a very early age. And
About what age did you get involved with chemistry?
Probably 10, 9, 10. I mean, he was giving me dental chemistry kits, and then moving into traditional chemical glassware and conducting various kind of reactions, reagents, and then that eventually came together with biochemistry, which was a big.
Keep talking. I'm listening, and when you're talking, understand that I'm listening to everything you have to say. Plus, the people who are watching the video are listening. So try to not be so much distracted on what you see on the screen with me. But go ahead and continue. You got into chemistry around the age of 10.
And so that all came together eventually and culminated in a undergraduate degree in microbiology.
At what age? What age did you get an undergraduate degree in microbiology, and where did you graduate from?
University of Michigan, but I was all over the map. I mean, I must have spent 8 years in years of college. But I was Balinese dance to living with my Tai Chi instructor to.
Wait, hold on. Let's back that up. You were all over the map with what you were studying. You were studying a broad spectrum of things, including Tai Chi.
Yeah, I lived with one of the four kind of masters in North America. Chin.
Who was that? Can you say who that was?
Yeah, it was Gabriel Chin out of Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Gabriel Chin out of Ann Arbor.
Yeah, and there was someone in New York, and I think Los Angeles. There were 3 or 4 people at his level. He had studied Shaolin. He studied law. He was an amazing chef, and then he got into. He ran into a Tai Chi master on the rugby field, and this elderly man came and gave him a hip shot, and knocked him across the field.
Wow.
And, he wanted to know what was that about, and the guy started to talk to him about Chi, and I was looking for a place to live in Ann Arbor, going out knocking on doors. Didn't have a lot of money, so I needed to kind of refinish an apartment or a basement in order to exchange for rent. Knocked on his door and I said, can I move in and finish a room or an attic? And he said, yeah, sure. I go, no, you didn't understand me. I said, can I move in and build an apartment in your house? He goes, yeah, come on in. It was like, this guy was, he just was there, and his elderly 90-year-old grandmother was there, and she used to teach me Chinese characters, and we'd wander around Ann Arbor, and this fellow, he would cook like a 20-course meal. Stunning cuisine. And he grew all his own vegetables in the backyard, and he taught Tai Chi out on the Diag in Ann Arbor. There would be 40, 50 students, and he would do the form, pretty much every afternoon. And,
wow.
And so somehow I just moved in with him, and it was. He had a couple of young children and an elderly grandmother, and so the whole thing was, I had not really used much in the way of chopsticks before that. The grandmother would always laugh hysterically, and she'd go out and give me a shovel, which is what they call the spoon.
Oh.
Get the guy a shovel. He's going to starve to death, and you won't give him a shovel. And it was a very pleasant time. But when I was in Ann Arbor, it was like I said, studying Balinese dance and microbiology and drama and all over the place. And
dance, drama, microbiology, chemistry, and then you were living with one of the Tai Chi masters.
Yeah,
And what year was that? And what time?
It was the mid 70s, 72 through and it was very formative, but it led to eventually someone was, well, what is it that you want to do? And I said, well, I'll probably go to medical school, but I had not really taken any science courses. So I decided that I'm going to take all these graduate courses in microbiology, and I never had biology or zoology or undergraduate micro. Just went to the 500 level courses and signed up for a whole truckload of those, and then went ahead and was doing some fairly interesting research back in the days of the polymerase chain reaction, where they were beginning to move DNA around, and the professor of microbiology wanted me to stay in micro. He did not want me to go to medical school. So like, do not, toast your brain and go to medical school. Stay in basic sciences. But
you wanted to get the best bang for your buck, and you said, I just want to know everything that I can. And you kind of went on an unconventional path of you let your curiosity and your conscience guide you on this path of discovery, day by day and season by season, it seems, in a way that has helped create you to be who you are uniquely as a person. And so you started with 7 years old, playing with a microscope, studying biology, fascinated with the life that you could find within the drop from a pond, and 10 years old, getting introduced before you were even a teenager, around those years, with chemistry and glassware. And then you graduated. How old were you when you graduated the microbiology?
That was so it'd probably be mid 20s, because it took me. My parents were very gracious with funding, a 7-year undergraduate course, as opposed to get in, get your degree, and get out.
It was 7-year course.
Yeah, 7 years. I mean, so figure skating. It was. I mean, I really would. I go from one end of the spectrum to advanced biochemistry. I mean, I was taking medical school biochemistry classes while doing figure skating and Tai Chi in the afternoons.
So you were in school in the morning, then you were learning Tai Chi in the afternoons from one of the most renowned Tai Chi instructors.
Yeah, he was absolutely amazing.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds like it was a really healthy environment for you to absorb all these things, because you had the opportunity to I'm assuming, learning how to meditate, and you had the opportunity to enjoy a different culture, a different environment, a peaceful environment, like you say, with an instructor who grew his food in his backyard. He could make a 20-meal cuisine. And so it sounds like the environment where you were at with your school, it gave you an opportunity during those early years to search into and find anything that you wanted to discover. With school, you did dance, you said you did drama and biology, and you had already had a background in chemistry, plus you were studying Tai Chi and living with a Tai Chi master. That's something that that's not online. I never found that online.
Yeah, it was a very delightful period.
Can I say one thing?
Mm-hmm.
That you should try to grow copia. It's a vine that grows here like wild. And when I grow up, I want to introduce copia to all the countries that can grow it to stop starvation. Any country that has enough water can grow copia. You just throw some on the ground and suddenly you have an over copia food problem.
Apple does not fall far from the tree.
And all that you could eat it raw or cooked. Best it's cooked, but in all the poor countries that have problems with overpopulation, they need a plant that they can grow in these places that will grow well and will never fail them. In places like China and stuff, you can grow this thing all year round.
Holy cow. Let me, okay, you're showing me one of the fruits. Is this from that vine?
No, this is a cocoa.
Okay, well that's just a coconut? Can I?
That's where your chocolate comes from.
That's chocolate pie.
Oh, that's the cacao. Cacao in Spanish. That's a cacao pod.
We call it cocoa here.
Cocoa.
Let me show you what it looks like.
You're growing your own cocoa, which is great because you can make your own chocolate.
The people that lived here before, they were making 200 bars a week. They had 400 cocoa plants, all different types of chocolate plants, different subtle cultivar differences.
The people who were living on the property that you now live on, before you bought it, were growing 400 types or 400 plants of cocoa, various different species, and they were producing final product 200 chocolate bars a week.
Yes.
It's the Wonka farm.
Yeah.
From other countries to study our cocoa.
You have people from other countries come to study your cocoa?
Because the guy had collected, stuff from all over the world, and
Wow.
And so it was quickly a chocolate farm. But it also had 1,000 different banana plants and 7 varieties.
1,000 different banana plants, 7 different varieties. When you purchased it?
Yeah, that was what was here when we moved in.
And there's still a lot.
And pineapple.
Can I tell him something?
You can tell.
This is what the cocoa looks like cut in half.
Mm-hmm.
Then it is surrounded by white, sticky, sweet, edible pulp. And
Let-
you gotta put it with the green line.
Show everybody here. You're going to show everybody here.
Look down the picture. Yeah.
That was, and this is the all finished bean. That's the bean. Oh shit. Sorry.
That's the
That's the bean, and then you roast that, and then you grind it into a powder, which has a very distinct flavor, but then you add sugar and milk till it turns into a syrup. And believe it or not, there are so many different varieties of this. Orange, this is one of the small yellow kinds. Then there are huge red kinds. Giant. Yeah, they're this kind. The orange.
We've got the young one is walking in as if she's in the Garden of Eden, and she doesn't have her fig leaves. I pulled it, so that's not well, is what it is. You guys are in a good place where you're at.
She was going to take a shower, and we hang our towels up over here on these little banners. So she was going in to get a towel to take a shower.
It's totally natural. So here, let's go back to the video. I'm going to bring it back up again. And actually, I know of a girl I met. Before I say that, I'm going to tell a story. I'm in Massachusetts, and there was this girl that was in Vermont, and her parents let her take her pants off and play around in the backyard. And she grew up like that, and the public knew about it. And that's it is what it is. So when it comes down to it, hey, we're all born naked, and we're not taking nothing with us. So relax and calm down a little bit. But so here we go with the
Let me show one more thing, Dad. This is a papaya. Unripened papaya. No, it is papaya.
It's a little yellow on that side.
Well, unripened. Is that right? It is. I thought you cut into it a little bit yellow, Brad. If you let it ripen.
I can see. I'm watching.
Okay.
Yeah, what you can see is the screen here, and
If you let this ripen for a couple days, it'll become orange.
it'll become orange.
It will become orange and soft. Yeah, you can even eat it before it even has a bit of yellow. This is what it will look like in a couple days.
Nice.
Like this, that orange.
Nice.
That's a plate of papaya.
Nice.
And can I talk about my coffee on everybody? Alright. And
Go quickly. I'll take a quick break. I'll be right back.
this is a bundle of copia. A lot of it. And here is the leaves. They are heart-shaped, green, and they have this smooth heart. Sometimes they have some rims. If you're having coffee that grows on the ground and it's a little drier, it will grow rims. And you can eat it raw. It has a milky sap. You can eat it raw, but it doesn't taste as good. If you cook it in any preparation, it'll taste delicious.
Nice.
And my favorite way is...
So this is you showing the vine that you think is going to help solve part of the problem with people not being able to eat.
There is a few things, though, I would like to introduce it all over the world, but it's a tropical plant. It has to have that it will grow. Usually once every week or so. It needs a bit of water. Say if you're keeping it in a cup every week, you'll have to put enough that to the rim of the cup, and then you can let it dry out of it. It's not drought. It's drought resistant for a couple of days, but not long droughts. So
Nice.
This is more for the tropical parts of the world, like big cities that live in hot, humid places, where there is just not enough room to grow food. And for instance, in places like China, there is such a big population problem, and they need a plant that will grow and grow well and grow and produce food.
Now, is that vine? So that vine is not native in Asia?
I am not certain. I do not believe so. I believe that a majority of the people who I've talked to, everyone has been totally surprised when they find out that this green, that all they've been using is trying to rip it off of plants and give it to rabbits, is actually edible and even better than lots of leafy greens that are already eaten.
Wow, so what's the name of this vine again? I'm going to write it down.
Well, we heard it called coffee. Is probably the best thing you'll get to. We call it coffea. Coffee is probably the best thing you'll get, but it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard to find on the internet, but I do know that the plant is extremely resilient to almost everything.
It's a very resilient plant.
And if all the bees disappear from the world, they would still be producing in mass numbers because they have two ways of producing. One is they make these beautiful flowers that are purple and they look like trumpets. And they don't smell like anything, but they're beautiful.
They're beautiful flowers and they look like trump heads.
And the other way they reproduce.
Let me write that down. Like so, beautiful flowers. Trump heads. That's an interesting way to describe it.
Trumpet.
Oh, trumpet. I thought you said trump heads.
No, only cats have those.
Only the cats have those?
But there are kitten-faced flowers. This is a perfume flower. I do not think you've heard of yet.
Trumpets. Ah, you weren't talking about the president. I forgive you. I forgive you now. I'm just kidding. I forgive you the way. I'm joking around for people that are gonna watch this and probably, blow a top. Like, oh my God, I can't believe they're actually saying that.
No, this is a perfume flower. A green flower.
That's a beautiful green flower. Let's show that. Let's show that green flower on the broadcast here. You got that beautiful green flower? Wow. And that's in your yard?
Yes, and it smells absolutely divine.
Ooh.
Like one of the best flowers you've ever smelled.
Ooh. That sounds amazing.
One of the only things that's green. And what's even stranger are their seed pods.
Wow.
Those are stranger. They're edible, and they look like an alien stack of heads. I can't describe this in words. I gotta go get one.
She's gonna go get one? Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I think she did a good job describing it in words. Those are her words, and she has a right to use them however she wants.
And here's salad. You can just put that in there and put a little bit of onion and some.
Show that again, Doctor. The salad.
Yeah, this is what the kind of vine and the leaves look like on this, and it literally will climb over your clothesline, every bush plant. I mean, it is crazy.
It's
you
a-
spend most of your
It's
trying to tear up things, and then they decided that they could eat it, and suddenly, rather than trying to get the gardens to say lettuce and kale and other things, they figured, well, this is here already, and it doesn't take a lot of homing.
At all.
It took over everywhere after Maria.
Everything. In fact, it took over everything before Maria as well.
So it's a very invasive vine.
It's more like it's a natural weed. It's a natural weed that can adapt super easily, and it is extremely resilient.
I like weeds.
Speaking of weed,
And just one more thing.
yes,
This is fruit coat that flower makes.
nice.
And it's even stranger when you're here. And inside each one, there are several seeds. And these things on the tree, they just look like out of this world when they're on the tree. These are the tiny seeds that come inside of the little seed fruit. They come like this, solid stalks, tiny heads.
Right?
Things are just strange.
Let's be scaring them.
It does kind of look like it does seem rather extraterrestrial in that regards, with it being alien or unusual. It's definitely very unusual looking pods, and they're green like alien heads, or they're like lizard heads. They look like.
I thought that if you spray painted them any color and put them and like stuck them like this in the floorboards of like a stadium where they're shooting an alien movie, it'd be like the coolest alien grass. And I bet you'd be a lot cooler
Alien
than
grass.
It'd be a lot more interesting than showing the redwoods 4,000 times on every sci-fi show and somehow making up an excuse that it's still an alien planet. It's the redwoods. And why does everyone speak English?
Okay, here we go.
Why they should speak English? This is a passion fruit. You can't see it very well. 'Cause it's
Oh, maracuya. That's one of my favorites. Maracuya passion fruit. Very, very good juice. I love that fruit.
Yeah, we drink gallons and gallons and gallons.
That is so good for you. It is one of the best fruits. Oh my goodness.
You know the planet might have been purple a long time ago? They say that rather than using green chlorophyll as the way they absorb the sun, that they might have used a different substance. And they say it could have been purple, which would have meant the entire planet would have been purple.
Wow.
That's a girl's best friend.
Purple.
And I heard somewhere that they made a new food plate, and wait, I forgot. Never mind.
Okay, you know,
I remembered.
You remember.
They changed it from the triangle that was like a triangle
food pyramid.
food pyramid. They turned it into a plate that had grains, veggies, I think it was fruits, and then proteins. Their original one just had grains, but obviously not everyone was going to eat a totally vegan diet.
Obviously.
And so they replaced it with protein, and there was a smaller bowl up here that has dairy.
Uh-huh.
Nut milk, you know, so
Yeah, kind of like just milk.
almond milk or cashew milk.
All those things. So they got a pretty good representation. That took it as a new class that there would be more veggies in people's diets, especially ever since the high fructose corn syrup revolution or devolution, as he says.
The devolution with the high fructose corn syrup. Yes, I mentioned at the start of this video before you guys came on that I actually took my vitamins and my mushroom mycelium powder and hemp oil live on this Facebook video before you guys came on. And while I was talking about that, it was to give also an introduction for you all, because that's what led me to you, was the study of what's healthy. And when I was younger, I've been studying what's healthy for almost 20 years. I want to live as best as possible, and so high fructose corn syrup is like one of the absolute worst things that you can put in your body.
It's just
It's
terrible.
horrible. It's just a horrible thing. I had showed my wife, taught my wife, and we keep as much as possible high fructose corn syrup out of our lives. And yeah,
Good solution. I agree.
Make our own tea and then our own flour.
We made our own, for a while with the pandemic, we didn't want to go to the store, so we made our own, drink on it, that we made our own cane sugar from
Cane
cane
sugar.
that we got in the yard and then boiled it down into sugar.
yes,
And then also took bananas. Did you know you can make banana flour?
I didn't know that.
You could dry green bananas, grind them up, and make them into flour. And you can also make the best vegan hot dogs ever with bananas. You can also make
Meatballs, you mean?
and hot dogs.
And meatballs.
And
Hot dogs.
meatballs.
And just one last thing. That, come on, what was it?
Sweet potato French fries.
It was
Oh, okay.
that you can make.
You were thinking green. You were thinking green banana.
Yeah, the bananas. If you take green bananas, cut them up into French fries. They're the easiest, best French fries in the world.
Oh, they
They're
are. They are. We eat them every day here. We eat them every day.
They're
I do. We eat fried green bananas. My wife is from Honduras, which is in Central America, and fried green bananas is their French fry.
I can see why they're delicious.
Yeah, are you kidding me? Plus, they're probably way better for you too.
Tell your wife that I praised her for being awesome.
Oh, cool! I'll tell her. She'll like that. She'll be like, "What?"
It's a lettuce-like thing. It grows yellow.
Hold on. Let me show on the screen. What is it?
Okay, I'll get a little closer so it's easier to see.
Spin it around.
Right there. Looks good.
It is a kind of flower that tastes, and the leaves are like spinach.
Get many things in. Stressful.
Paracetamol. And I consider myself an herbalist. I read it. I read a lot of herbalist things, do a lot of herbalist things. I make tea, If any one of the three sisters is going to turn into a doctor, it's going to be Nani. I'm obsessed with the herbal remedies of the world.
Well, yes, that is amazing, and I'm super excited. You know, you three and your family is just one of the coolest people that I know, and I'm not kidding. You are some of the coolest people that I know.
You are too.
Wow, awesome, thank you.
And the fairy garden makes plant,
Ah,
part flower,
uh-huh.
but it's a little blue one. And I have one more. Kaya grows these, a black-eyed Susan. No, you gotta put this in the see it. It has to be facing black-eyed Susan.
Black-eyed Susan.
Yeah.
What, did somebody punch her?
That was showing me how to hold it so that you could see the black-eyed Susan.
It looks pretty. Well, except when she has a black eye. Who came up with that name anyway? I wonder what he was going through. Or her. Now, all three of your kids are just so wonderful. They seem very, very, very healthy. I'm very happy to see that because once I discovered who you were and I saw that there was a gap in time, and this was 4 years ago. Hi, 4 years ago, I thought, my goodness. I hope that they're doing really, really good. And I discovered you were on Dominica, and I found some of that. And I think I reached out and became friends with Kristen on Facebook around that time. But it seems like you guys were very busy, and so yeah, I'm very happy that you guys are doing so good.
Have you seen a Daily Talk? What's it called? Trevor Noah.
She likes that one.
You should check it out.
What is it?
The Daily Show.
The Daily
Trevor
Show.
Noah.
And it's ridiculous. And one thing
The Daily Show?
that I noticed from it is that have you noticed the way Trump stands? Like a penguin.
How he stands like a penguin?
Yeah, you should watch it. He actually does stand like a penguin.
Kids say the darndest things. You know that?
I didn't say it either.
I'm just repeating it.
I'm just repeating it. And did you ever notice that when he's sitting, he always puts his hand like this, and he's like,
Can't see that on the camera.
and so he always puts his hand like this, and then he sits. It's just the weirdest thing in the world. Who sits like that? Who stands like that?
Who stands like that? Who sits like that? Only him. He's unique. He's special in that way, you know? He's special.
Like,
He's really special. Yeah.
And you know what? The other candidates don't know where they are, and the other one is Kanye West.
Yeah, Kanye West.
Kanye West, yeah.
In this brilliant America, Kanye West is running for president.
This brilliant America. Kanye West is running for president. Yeah. Did you ever see that? Did you ever see that movie Idiocracy?
No.
Oh, the guy who created I think it's the same guy who did Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill, Mike Judge. I think he's the one that was in that was part of making it. And it's about a guy who needs to make some extra bucks, and so instead of like selling blood or selling plasma or being part of a scientific experiment like that, he agreed to be part of a cryogenic experiment, but like an earthquake hit after they froze him, and he woke up like 300 years later, and the country was just totally really back, like they took 50 years, 60 years back in stupidity. It was just like really crazy. But one of the scenes is the presidential election scene where it's like you got Kid Rock. It almost seems like it was a rock type thing where it was a party concert and vote for me, and it was just crazy with fireworks and guns going off, and it was
That
just.
sounds like a presidential election.
It sounds like a presidential election today. And the thing is about that movie, people make a lot of reference to it because the way Trump did his rallies. See, the movie came out like almost 20 years ago. And so the way that Trump was doing his rallies, people were comparing that like, oh my God, are we getting better in America with our politics, or are we going the wrong direction? And yeah. So
Did you see we're big Star Trek fans, the girls and I?
Okay.
And sorry. And
Voyager.
so we were watching it, and they thought that the funniest thing in the world is that like the major enemy of the Federation is the Kardashians.
Oh.
That's what they call it, evil alien. And so the girls were like, "What? The Kardashians?"
See, I didn't know that. So, like, there's that connection there with Star Trek?
They're called more Kardashians.
The Kardashians.
It sounds like Kardashian all the time, and that's like what the girls do now. And they were like, "So what? They got so rich that they start conquering space."
Well, it sounds like it.
No, I mean, Elon Musk and Amber Heard were getting it on. Like, he could just end up hooking up with Courtney Kardashian and taking her into space and starting a whole new colony on Mars. Kardashians.
The Kardashians on Mars. Maybe they make another show out of that.
Did you know that?
At least another year out of that.
Did you know the Chinese are making a base on the moon, and it's Space Force is so correct.
Have you watched the show Space Force?
No.
Oh my god, you gotta too. It's on
You
Netflix.
have to.
I didn't know there was a show called Space Force.
There is.
It's probably funny.
Ridiculous, hilarious. Like the guy from The Office. What's his name?
Rick.
Yeah, he was also Brick in Anchorman.
Oh, that guy? That guy is one of the funniest actors.
And it's like, if since we're like really into like news, political junkies, we watch like news in like Australia and in India and everything, and like sometimes like 24/7.
Right.
We're into the side, and
At least now that
Williams
it's
is into it too. Like, and we watch like all kinds of the whole spectrum, everything from Fox News to like the Hagerman Report. Like, so.
We fight over which news channel we'll get to watch.
So we watched the whole Space Force thing come up,
Right.
and it's just like what's actually going on in there is it's so close to the truth,
It's
and like Elon Musk, he had this affair. Like Johnny Depp trial, Amber Heard things coming out, and all these Hollywood people are being named. Like, are you part of the Me Too, or are you part of Epstein? Like, they're all tied together.
Yeah, I've seen some headlines of it, and with Johnny, and yeah, it's tough for him.
Like, so he had this affair. Elon Musk,
Mhm.
who did state that, was having this affair with Amber Heard,
Mhm.
and they released some of the texts that he
Mhm.
sent them.
Mm.
And he's singing her these like I'm your fucking man, and like these really embarrassing songs like on text. They keep removing it, but it's like there was an episode of Space Force, the Netflix show, where prominent scientists get these really embarrassing texts to his boyfriends released where he's singing these songs. And so it's kind of like, how much do they really know what's going on? Like live parodying art, or people that find things out faster.
Yeah, like how are they tapping into that knowledge? Like, where'd that come from?
And China is actually making what's it called? A base on the moon.
Yeah, there actually is that. What is that? The heavy water that they can extract from the moon.
Hydrogen.
It's like, like it's hydrogen 3 or something, and it can power the United States for like a whole year with like and it's super light, and they're actually drilling for it already, and that's like one of the plot themes that came out in the show.
Maybe that's why we need to have a Space Force, because we can't let them get to that first.
Actually, Space Force was the first thing that happened. The first thing they did on the moon was the bases started.
The Trump parody of him singing Space Force is one of the funniest things ever. It's like how I like to start off my day in the morning. Space Force Trump parody, or I'll send you the link. It's like the funniest thing ever.
Space
And
Force.
they use real words. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, did you know he'll sing all these songs in his own words? Like there's Titanic.
One is great.
Although the Titanic is really scary, so I do not want to watch Titanic.
Oh, hey, wait, hold on a second. What time is it? No, my appointment's at 3, but I had somebody said that yeah, well, I did have a 12. Somebody said they were going to call me, but she hasn't yet. So, but we're going to keep rolling. If she does call, the live footage phone will ring. This one will continue. And then I will, I might just hang up and then let Facebook. What I'll do is if she calls, I'll end the live and bring her on and introduce her to you on the phone because she's going to be helping us set up. The plan is she's going to be helping with Solomon's Treasure. So I'd like to introduce her to you, but we'll cut the live and do that if she calls. So, but we'll stay on, you and me, with the messenger here.
You still haven't finished your original story of like how we ended up meeting, and I tell it full too. But I want to hear you tell it first.
So yeah, so you guys can I say what I think that the people can gather from public, just from what they can find online? What I was able to find online was that you two started you two started coming out with helping people and provide services and consultation services, and then that's how I was able to see your stories. And we're seeing it from the after you've met, after you've already had quite some time. But it seems as though, Kristen, you had traveled in search for medical cannabis after they legalized it in California, and then you searched around for as many doctors as you could to find out what you needed to find out, because you noticed that...
Well, it's not quite a story. Let me tell you about...
It cut out there. So, well...
You okay?
Yeah, it cut out on your end. Well, just 1 second, and I'm just going to end here so they can see, and then we'll follow with what the doctor has to say, or with Kristen. That it was like she found her way to California because part of the legalization, at least from what I gathered, and then somehow she got introduced to you through that. So, go ahead and share with me if you want to on that, and.
Mom is checking her food in the oven. And
my pasta was first.
Can I tell one thing first?
You can tell one thing first.
One thing. Have you ever heard of watercress?
Watercress.
It's a plant that grows here, and it's spicy and lettuce-like, and it grows in the water. It's delicious in salads. I just was having some.
Yes, I now that you mention it, yes, I have heard of it. Do you like it? Do you like that plant?
Yeah, we grow it here because it grows better than lettuce.
Nice.
Because it's too hot here for sunlight, but also our lettuce eats on. Nani,
you two are very impressive, and I want to tell you that to have what you have, I understand that you guys have went through the trenches together. You have been through the trenches of life together and seen stuff and had to endure things and had beautiful moments, I'm sure too, because you're so healthy still. And but yeah, you've definitely went through a gauntlet in life. Yes, to get where you are, without a doubt.
Yeah, one of our offices was burned down, and we were told a couple of weeks before that they were going to torch our office. And so there was a time when there were kind of very anti-cannabis individuals.
Well, every time we used to come back into the country, they would torture us in TSA. We'd go there until we'd miss our connection, and they wouldn't let the kids eat food or drink. And
so hold on a second. So I'm just going to repeat that back for people who are hearing this for the first time. So, you guys had experienced light level and even criminal persecution. You guys were persecuted on a criminal level.
One time we had to wait. They were like, they have all these kids, let them go through, and we were in New York, and they were like, no, wait, we have to add their youngest one to the terror list, and he referred to it as the terror list, and added our 9-month-old baby, the domestic terror list.
Well, I'm going to speak in defense of security agents. I worked at the airport. I worked security. I was part of the first federalized wave. I was in Kansas City Airport, MCI, when I was in the training. I was part of the when they federalized it a year after 9/11. Which, hey, happy anniversary. Um, and I can tell you that what happens with stories like what you guys have is the oddity story, the stuff that's hidden behind the hidden. But the average, everyday, normal person who works in institutions such as the government and Homeland Security and any other type of organization, those average people are not out to necessarily cause damage to other people. And I never saw that in any type of my experience, but there are some, it seems, that people in certain levels of connection in upper parts of government have this mentality that it's okay to hurt others unjustly. And it's sad for Americans to try to decipher what is true and what is not true in our own country, where we have our work that we're doing as citizens to keep things up, but yet there are people that are working in secret form to try and tear us down as a whole at the same time, or individuals unjustly. And that I think that, I'm going to say it quite frankly, that should piss us off. And it should be unacceptable. It is unacceptable, but yet it sometimes happens. And we're working out of that, I think, as human beings. But at the time where we're at as a nation, people are tired of that shit. And I don't want to live under that, and I don't think anybody should be living under that. And I'm sure that 98% of the country would agree with me if they were asked. So you guys had an office building. Your doctor's office was burned down inside the United States after you were told that it was going to be burned down inside the United States. And the only thing you're doing is telling people that they're to drink juice, cannabis raw, and that's going to help prevent disease, because it's the number one most important thing that you can eat after water, and that's all you're doing, and you're getting persecuted for it. That's bullshit.
Going through TSA, he came back and William would never have something in his briefcase, and they found some sort of weird cannabis-like substance. It was
a South African herb that's psychoactive, not yet illegal, and
was it salvia? Was it salvia divinorum?
I don't remember the Latin name. All I remember is they'd stuck it into my computer bag.
Somebody inside the United States TSA at an airport put stuff inside of your bags?
Yeah.
It could have been on the airplane when I was coming back from Europe.
Oh yeah, could have been on the airplane beforehand, yeah. And then it was discovered there.
Yeah.
But no, they knew when he got off the airplane. They greeted him immediately when he was getting off by saying, "Dr. Courtney, do you have any seeds on you today?" And he was coming home early because I was going into early labor. And so he changed his flight and came home. But before they checked him or anything, they greeted him at the airplane and were like, "You're coming into custody." And then they searched him and they watched him go to the bathroom and did all kinds of stuff. And then they were like, "We could do this anytime we want to do this."
Fuck them.
And encouraged him not to travel anymore.
If that really happened, I say fuck that. I think that's bullshit. That shouldn't be happening. And I'm glad that you're sharing the story, and I'm glad that I'm able to help get this out. I hope that the people who are watching the video are able to hear good, because what I just made as an expression was quite it could be quite dramatic. But I'm sitting here listening to you explain to me why I imagine you guys are very hesitant towards traveling inside the United States.
We didn't even go back when his dad died.
You didn't even go back when your dad died, so you didn't even go to a funeral, because and then the funeral happened after these persecuted events, and you guys were like, "I'm not even going. It's not worth it."
Like a sheriff telling us to get out of town, and a lawyer that we used Homeland Security to take us out of Dominica and back again so that he could come into court. And it started when he started winning a lot of expert witness cases, like every single one, by using the government's patent. And then every time he would testify for a case, there'd suddenly be like 15 people in dark suits, like not real nice suits, cheap suits, like in there with briefcases, writing out every word that he said and trying to trip him up. And instead of just being like an expert witness giving testimony, it would go into like his entire background and stuff that was completely irrelevant, trying to trip him up. You know, when did you eat cannabis? Where did you eat it? Have you ever tasted cannabis? What have you ever given it to a patient? Like about, you know.
I'm gonna put you on the screen. I want you to restate some of that stuff that they were drilling you with when you were in court trying to just figure out.
Now you tell them what are all the things you had to prepare for? All your tax information, your personal life, how old your wife was, what were you spending your money on for, exactly where did you travel, when did you eat cannabis, when did you try cannabis, did you give cannabis directly to a patient, what exactly have you told your patient, like, how did you find out about the things you know about the patent, how do you feel about 9/11, Dr. Courtney? Like that had any relevance on a case at all. On a medical marijuana case, they're going to ask you whether you think 9/11 is an inside job. It has nothing to do with anything about the case. But they would bring it in for him as an expert witness because he knew if he came into court, he was going to win the case. And it got to be to the point where lots of people were telling us they're trying to get you into jail, and you're not going to last there. So, you know, it just kept ramping up, and I don't feel safe going back to the U.S. I don't. I have all my families there, all his family's there, but I'm not going there. Besides, I'll, get COVID now, too. So.
Well, I listened to everything that you had to say, and you were able to share there for a moment on the screen to get out almost for the first time. This is a therapeutic thing for I think for you too, and I think it's a therapeutic thing for people if they was to watch this. And when they watch this, and when you are watching this, as I could say now, even though I have 0 people watching it right now, we're filming it, and we have this impression in the United States, like we know that honesty in politics gets you hurt. I mean, I think that the last politician that we had was honest was JFK. And if you challenge, and I think we've got a whole generation of people who've just allowed that to go that way. And in 2008, I saw that it was a train wreck, just waiting to happen. And we are running until we're off the bridge. The track runs out because we've become so deteriorated away from just the basic human concepts of respect, of life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. And we don't even realize what our founding fathers had gone through, what they knew about. We don't even understand. A lot of people, if you was to ask them on the street, you was to say, what's the name of the vice president? I'm sure many people would probably not even know. Younger people. So we're so disconnected from where we were when we started as a nation that I think it's a lot of people are watching this, and there's quite a few people who are watching history, studying history, and there's a higher probability than not, from what I'm getting from people, that we are going to fail as a union, and part of it is because of this. Part of it's because of this, because we don't protect. We're hypocritical. We're hypocritical as a nation, and you can't be a hypocrite.
That way, if you look at the man that wrote Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness, Thomas Jefferson was my hero forever. We quoted him extensively during the campaign. And then I read the book Master of the Mountain, which is his own farm book. And it was sickening. The would sleep with his slaves to make more slaves and sell them to pay his taxes and buy more wine and books. And it's like his own words. It's like the most damning book ever. And Benjamin Franklin used to party in the Hellfire Club. And, like, John Adams seems like the only one that actually he was extremely self-righteous, but he had a reason to be. And, like, Thomas Paine, and he was a drunk. Like, they all had total problems. Even Madison said the Constitution's main job should be to protect the ownership of property to people who don't already have property. That's what the Constitution should do. It's protect the people who have money and resources now over the mass and find the best ways of controlling them. And the Constitution is what we say is like this wonderful document that's so great. I think it has to be a living document, and the circumstances before weren't the same now. And we should allow for the fact that maybe bad people are always going to take advantage of what we have. And there are more good people in the world than bad, and we need to start taking action and not just accept every year. We have to stop accepting these things.
You've got a mermaid behind you who lost her coconut bra. I pulled off just so it'll make it even easier for me, because at the same time somebody might say, "Oh, well, look what he's doing now. He's taking advantage of children. Let's go fuck his life up because he fucking crossed a line that we're going to make it into a bigger issue than it doesn't even exist." And I shouldn't have to hesitate like that as a human, but I understand because I know that that's what people fucking do. I've heard stories of people even getting shit planted into their own computers through hackers, and then later on getting a search warrant on him, and lo and behold, he's got child porn. Where the fuck did that come from? I don't even fucking know. Like the shit that happens in this country is fucked up. Some of the stuff, man.
That's when you know what's really going on is watch a lot of sci-fi.
Just watch a lot of sci-fi. You figure out what's going on. Now, I was really hesitant to come back to the States, and that's one of the reasons why I endured 5 years straight in Honduras. I really did not want to come back, and I found myself here now. I feel safe for the moment, but there was many times when I would go through airport checks, and I was wondering, it's like, are they even going to let me into Honduras? Are they even going to let me back into the United States because of some of the things I've been vocal on publicly, politically, and the shit that I know and my positions that I take? I'm like, when's the persecution going to start hitting me? And because it's like you see it, and it's like, and it's scary. It's scary shit, man. It's scary.
What to do too. Like, I'm tired of being I'm so afraid of saying anything, and like some days I think we should just go off social media altogether and like look a little further into the woods. And then other days I'm like, no, screw it, we gotta just say what we feel. But we used to retaliate when TSA would mess with us.
You used to retaliate when TSA would mess with you?
Yeah, like I'd have like my 5-year-old.
This is a juicy story. Let's talk about the TSA getting retaliation.
Like I'd just take my top off and have the 5-year-old and like the 3-year-old tandem nurse.
You had a 5-year-old, 3-year-old tandem nurse, and you would fuck with the TSA when you'd go through.
And they would just be so completely uncomfortable watching like a 5-year-old nurse.
Not to mention just breastfeed, but a 5-year-old.
Completely, and then they're standing up, the nurse, because they're so old, and they would just be like so freaked out by it. They could not take it anymore, and they would just like have to. They'd be like, "Just go, just get out of here.
Get the fuck out of here."
I wore an American flag burqa all the time, and we used to always dress like in all red, white, and blue. Like William would have an American flag tie on and a suit, and I'd have like on a red, white, and blue like suit, and the kids would all be dressed in like all American colors. And so they would just see like a line of like brown and black people, and then us all dressed like the all-American family. And I'd feel so bad because everybody else in line would be so scared to say anything or to do anything. And after a while, we were just sick of it. We knew we were going to miss our connection. We knew we were going to sit for hours and so we would just tell the kids, in TSA, you don't have any rules. So we would let them run around, pull things down, pull the ropes down, jump over counters, fight people. It was like, and because they would be so tired at the end of like a 9-hour flight, and like we've been driving and like we're tired and they're hungry, and then they know they're gonna have to go through this for hours. So I was like, you can just do anything you want. We give them a bunch of candy and just let them go nuts.
How many? Well, hold on. Let's get a backdrop on this. So we're talking retaliation. You got to the point where you told your kids there's no fucking rules at the TSA checkpoint because you're tired of them fucking with you. You walk through. You just got done telling me that you would walk through with a 3-year-old nursing and a 5-year-old nursing, and then they'd be like, "Get out of here." So about what year? Can you put a year to approximately when the persecution started, and then ending with, and maybe explaining how many flights?
2011, around the time we did the campaign and did a lot of expert witness, but it had gone on a little bit before that. But then by I would say even earlier than that, started like maybe 2009, we started getting it, and we were very compliant, but around 2011, when it really ramped up, we just started getting sick of it. Like, we took all the little shots from the plane and got drunk one time and saying, "Oh, I'm Henry."
You just go through fucking drunk. How many flights did you guys go through between 2009 and 2011 before? Hundreds of flights, and every one of them they would give you shit.
Every time, well, I mean, that includes like all the connections and stuff, but every time we came back into the U.S., we'd get shit. Every single time. There was going to be something you'd get shit about. So then I'd take like all the shitty clothes that the kids had, that like, when the kid has like an explosive diaper, and we put that on the top of the suitcase. So they'd reach their hands in to search, and then they'd get their hand all full of like baby shit.
It was war. It was war in the trenches.
Yeah, we were just sick of it. After a while, we just had it. And, the kids would start being like, "I wish we lived in."
Okay, so it looks like we got the phone call. Let's see what happens.